Duck, the Great Western Engine, was enjoying his life on the island of Sodor. He loved the view, the smell of the seaside, and enjoyed basking in the sunlight. However, when it got time to return to his shed, he became a little saddened. Not too long ago, he had been involved in an accident because of his Great Western way of thinking, even when Toby had told him to follow the Sodor way. Since then, he had abandoned his Great Western ideas on how railways worked, but he was a sadder engine for it. Instead of being proud of his line, he now thought of it as an accident-prone place. Just then, Percy pulled up.
"Hello, Duck,"
said Percy.
"Do you have any adventures from your past to tell me about?"
Percy enjoyed hearing about the GWR, but Duck didn't want to tell any stories about the place. He thought he'd be laughed at. "I'm sorry, but I don't have any stories to tell you."
"Oh, okay. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?"
Duck didn't want to talk either. He was afraid that he'd accidentally say something about his line. "I'm a little bit too tired today for a chat. Sorry." Percy knew that Duck was lying, but didn't want to upset him.
"Good night, then."
Night. The next day, he headed off to do some shunting. There, waiting for him, were Donald and Douglas. Hello, Duck. You just missed the yard manager? Aye, we need to shunt this old yard of trucks and start taking them to the docks. Alright then, let's get started. And then you can tell us all about your line. Aye, your stories from the posh railway are always interesting. Oh. The three engines went to the right side of the yard and decided that they'd each be in charge of one line of trucks. "The last to shunt their line is a rotten wheel," Douglas called, and the three engines started to shunt. Duck was completely focused on shunting the Sodor way. He took each truck separately and put it to the left side of the yard. Then he'd go back for the next truck. Soon he was making lines of trucks that were correctly shunted. Duck enjoyed this work. He was too busy thinking about which truck went where to think about his Great Western worries. Duck had only shunted half of his line when the twins whistled to him. "Are you finished yet? I know I said the slowest was a rotten wheel, but I didn't mean it literally." Duck was surprised. "How did you do it so fast?" he exclaimed. "Here's a better question. How are you going so slow?" Donald had only meant this as a joke, but Duck began to ponder. He was sure they were doing exactly what he was doing. "I must be a little rusty on this way of shunting. How about a rematch?" "You're on. Let's make it a best of three." "Aye, the Highland versus the Lowland." When Duck had finished his first line, the three began to quickly shunt the next line. This time Duck went as quickly as he could. Now he had practiced the Sodor way, he knew what to do. This time he didn't hesitate about where to put the trucks. He had just 6 left to shunt when... "You don't need your joints to be oiled, do you? Okay, I'm almost falling to sleep over here." This time Duck was very confused. Duck was smaller and could speed up more along the short lines. But even without that advantage, the twins were still winning by a landslide. "I have no idea how you're doing this so fast. Would you mind showing me?" "It would be an honour," Donald said as he came over to Duck's line. "Now I am quick, mind you, so be sure not to blink." Donald coupled up to 3 trucks, then took them over to the left side of the yard. From there, he put the trucks into their correct lines, one by one. Duck was confused. This wasn't the way he'd seen someone shunt, and it certainly wasn't the Sodor way. "What are you doing? That isn't the Sodor way." "Too right it isn't," Douglas replied. "No wonder it takes the small engines all day to do some shunting." "Aye, no wonder so many engines are needed here." Duck was more confused than ever before. "But it's wrong to do it that way. We're on Sodor, and therefore must use the Sodor way." "Whoever told you that?" "Toby told me. Then, when I didn't follow his advice, I got into an accident." "Toby told you? Why doesn't a day I don't see him follow his own way at some point? He said he learnt it on his own line. You know, the one near the border of England and Wales. What did he tell you to do that followed the Sodor way?" "He told me I should let my trucks rest before my next run." "Ah, that'll explain it. I imagine that the Great Western is the same as our old home. The trucks there were more... a little less... well, troublesome," Donald finished. Duck thought about this. He had heard from Thomas that the trucks in Africa were very helpful. And on his old line, whilst they didn't help, they also didn't make as many problems as the ones on Sodor did. Therefore, continued Donald, when it comes to making the troublesome trucks behave, you should absolutely follow the Sodor way. The same goes with spiteful brake vans. But with a lot of other things, the Sodor way isn't better. For instance, in the UK we have stricter deadlines as each railway doesn't sustain itself but works with others. That means over the years, our railways have learned to do some things quicker. Suddenly, Duck remembered all the praise the Little Western got for being so quick. It was only now he realised that it was because Oliver and himself were both Great Western, and therefore, for their size, were quicker than the other Sudrian engines. Duck's faith in the Great Western was returning. In that case, let's have one final rematch. And this time, I'll use the Great Western way. Once again, the three engines began to quickly shunt. But this time, Duck used his own methods. Instead of taking the trucks one by one, he took them in twos. And instead of taking them to the left side of the yard, he put them in the adjacent lines. Then, when they were all in the correct lines, he took each one over to their final destination. This time it was Duck who had finished a long time before the twins, and he whistled to them. He hasn't. It can he have? They peeked out of their lines, and there, waiting victoriously, was Duck, the Great Western engine. Well, you know what I always say. There's a right way and a wrong way of doing things. I'm Great Western, and you've beaten us fair and square. The shunting went very smoothly after that. And in no time at all, the trucks were all at the docks. That night, Duck headed for Tinmer's sheds. He knew Percy would be there before he had to take the mail, and Duck had a lot of storytelling to do.
So, what was wrong yesterday?
Asked Percy after Duck had told him a couple of tales. Well, I was ashamed of being Great Western because of some of our methods.
So, what happened today to make you change your mind?
Today I learned that no way is better than the other, and instead of competing against each other, they should be used together. I also learnt that the Scots are very slow shunters, and the two laughed and joked into the night.